you wanted the best, you've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, folks. This is Voss here from thechrisvossshow.com. Ladies and gentlemen, when they are ladies, things that makes official, welcome to the big show. We certainly appreciate you guys for 16 years and over 2,100 episodes. We bring you the Chris Voss Show going on year 17. We're almost at 20. I guess if we just can live through the next 3 years without an apocalyptic thing happening, or, I don't know, lightning strikes, or, I don't know, I do a Sonny Bono into a tree while I'm skiing or something.
Okay.
Duane, our guest on the show, that totally got him laughing. Sonny Bono jokes are the callback joke for the show, evidently. So anyway, we always have the most amazing authors, the CEOs, the billionaires, the White House presidential advisors, the Pulitzer Prize winners, the people you see on the TV news, journalists, people bringing their cathartic stories of lessons learned, journeys, and let you know that you're not alone and that there's other folks like you. And they might have some blueprints for you of some of the stuff they've experienced and overcome to help you do the same, because some of you need to overcome some real shit out there. I can see some of you out there. No, I'm just kidding. That's kind of low. Anyway, so do I. So we're on this journey together as human beings, folks. He is the author of the latest book to come out, December 20th, 2022. It's called To Flourish. God is the light. We are its spectrum. Duane Haynes joins us on the show today. We're going to be talking to him about his insights, his experience in life, and he's quite the journey. Duane Haynes was born in Denver, Colorado, to Jimmilee and Elmer Haynes, too. Duane was born 10 minutes after his twin brother, Darrell, and is one of 5 children. I guess he wanted to make sure that, tell Darrell, or, hey, Darrell, can you go out and check and make sure everything's safe first, and then I'll be out in 10 minutes.
Then I'll be out later, yeah.
Is that how it worked?
The accident do it.
You're like, I don't know, man. It seems like a cold world out there. Why don't you go test the waters first and then just give me a signal or something and I'll come out. Otherwise, I'm staying in here forever. The accident left Duane suffered a life-threatening fall at the age of 12, which changed his life. It left him in a coma for about 3 days. When he came to, he had changed and remembered being a place he knows in his heart as heaven. He says, God showed me all the heaven and love. He then told me what I must do and gave him a gift and said, go back in the world and give this gift to them. Tell them they can turn their pathway to the way home. Welcome to the show, Duane. How are you?
Thank you, Chris. I'm doing good. How are you?
I am excellent. It's wonderful to have you on the show. Thanks for coming.
It's an honor to be on your show.
It's an honor to have you as well. We love great minds on the show. I'm just the idiot with the mic, but the smart people come on and give us the cool details. So give us the .coms. Where can people find you on the interwebs?
I have a website called toflourish.com.
Okay.
And I'm on Facebook under Duane Haynes and another one under To Flourish. So there's 2 of them on Facebook.
Okay. So give us a 30,000 overview of what's in your book, To Flourish.
It's interesting. It's poetry, inspirational poetry. One person titled my poetry as free-flowing poetry. So it's not nursery rhyme type. It's not haiku. It doesn't rhyme after every other word, every other last word of every sentence. So they call it free-flowing poetry.
Ah.
And so how I learned to do this is when I was in a coma. Actually, I fell off by a diving board. I hit the cement head first.
Ooh.
I fell 2.5 stories. Yeah. And I was in a coma for 3 days. While I was in a coma, I visited heaven. And I met God. He showed me all of heaven. He showed me the beginning and end of man. And then he gave me a gift and he anointed me. And he said, go back to the world and show them so that they may find their pathway to the way home. Okay. Then I woke up, and I woke up in the bed and my mom was sitting there reading her Bible. And I looked at her and I said, Mom, and she started crying and she grabbed the button and started hitting the button and the doctors and nurses came running in. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? I'm just waking up. Where am I? And then It's funny. My mom tried to reach over to hug me, and the nurse grabbed her, and my mom shoved her away, you know. And the doctor said, "Ma'am, we need to look at your son."
Yeah.
You know, because I was out for 3 days, and all of a sudden I just woke up, you know. And then about, I'd say 6 months later, I started writing poetry.
Wow.
But the interesting, I never wrote a poem. I was like 12 years old when this happened. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'd wake up in the middle of the night, I'd write a poem, and I'd go back to sleep. In the morning, I'd wake up and I'd look at it and said, okay, you know, I'd correct a couple of things and I'd put it away. And it's interesting because then, you know, back then we had the little typewriters where they go click, 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 you know. And so, you know, I typed it up and I put it away. And then God said, put this poem in your pocket. I want you to give to somebody. You know, he said to me in a dream. So I put it in my pocket for a couple of days. You know, I'm carrying around a pocket. And then I was at the store with my mom, and I'm going through the aisles, and this person walks up to me and just starts opening up. You know, and then God said, give it to him. So I said, okay, this is for you. And I gave it to him. And it's like they knew I was going to give them something. And they took it and they read it, and they said, this is what I've been praying for. Thank you for this. This is great. And they start crying, and I'm like, okay. And my mom would come around the corner, say, everything okay? I said, yeah, Mom, everything is great. You know, and then she introduced herself, you know, to my mom, and, you know, she said she was led here to get this. You know, I'm like 13, 14. Okay. I said, okay. And I didn't understand my gift. I just didn't know what I was doing, but I was doing what God asked me to do. I said, okay, got to be obedient. And then I put together, you know, and I kept writing the poems. Sometimes I'll write like maybe 4 poems in a week. And then maybe no poems for 2 months. You know, and I didn't mind. I said, okay, this is good. Same thing. I'll wake up in the middle of the night. I'll write the poem. And I'll go back to sleep, and in the morning I'll look at it. A couple times, Chris, I got to tell you, I woke up and I said, I'm not writing this poem. And I didn't. I did it twice, and I didn't write it. I went back to sleep. In the morning, I'm going, okay, what was that? You know, I didn't do that anymore. So no, I'll write it when he tells me to write it. So that's how my writing came to be. And one time, I think I was 15, and my mom sent a couple of my poems to my uncle, who was a professor in Michigan. Okay, and then he really liked the poems, and people liked the poems, and he invited me down for a program, and she wouldn't let me go because I was 15, and he said, he's 15 and he writes like this? Wow. She goes, yeah, so people, you know, when I write the poems, the comprehension of the level of the poetry precedes my age. Yeah. And people really astonished by that. So that's how I got started writing.
Wow. What's your purpose that you find in writing these poems?
My purpose is to do what God asked me to do. Okay. Show them the pathway to the way home, which is heaven. Okay. And also to lead people down the right path, help them find themselves, to realize who they are in God's eyes, and their purpose. You know, in today's society, most people, they don't know who they are. They don't know why I'm here. What am I supposed to do? And I'm a guide. I'm not a messenger. I give a gift. I call my poetry a gift. You know, and so the gift goes out, and many people have found the answer to their prayers.
Now, why do you call it a gift? What is it that makes it so special?
It's a gift because when I was in heaven, God said, I give you this gift. Go back to the world and tell them so they can find their pathway to the way home. Okay, now when he told me this when I was 12, it's like it keeps coming back in my mind. I said, okay, what is the gift? I'm looking for a physical gift, you know? Yeah. And it turned out to be the poetry. I said, okay, so when I do the poetry, and also I perform my poetry, I do it from memory. I don't stand there and read, you know. I do it from memory. And so I do a performance because God speaks through my poetry. So I have to be free to let him speak through the poems. And so that's what I do. And I do what God asked me to do.
And you've been doing it for how long now?
Vision with God. He said, go back and tell them. Okay, so that means I got to tell him my poetry. So that's what I do.
All right. And how long have you been doing that now?
I don't know. I'm kind of old now.
40. A lot of years.
Yeah.
And so eventually you decide to put them together in this book to Flourish?
What happened, I was invited to a writers conference. Mm-hmm. Okay, and the winner would receive a contract with a writing company to do a book. I said, oh, great. So I put my poetry together, in a manuscript, and I go. I mean, it was in Washington, D.C., and there was a lot of people there. I'm like, whoa, this is great. Huh. So I presented my poem and who I was, I didn't win. I didn't even come in the top 20. But another person that was there tapped me on the shoulder and said, I'd like to talk with you. So we like your poetry. So I published with them. That's how I got started.
Oh, wow. Congratulations. Now your poems are out in the world. You can reach so many more people. More people can order the book on Kindle or paperback and find out more about it. On the cover of the book, it has two different, I think these are called spectrums or it kind of looks like the dark side of the moon a little bit on the cover. Why do you say that we are at spectrum? What does that mean, that we're at spectrum? Why is that on the cover of the book?
When the story that goes behind the cover, when God told Noah he wouldn't flood the earth anymore, he put a rainbow in the sky. Okay? The thing behind me represents the rainbow that he did. The rainbow represents God's promise, his word, and his covenant. Okay, when I was putting the book together, God said, these are the colors, these are the 7 colors you were going to put on the book. Okay, and God's rainbow is 7 colors. Okay, the spectrum is we are the colors of God's light. Black, white, brown, all the colors come from God, and we are the spectrum that illuminates the light from God. So that's what the cover is.
We are the spectrum. That makes sense. I mean, there's a lot that went into this book. And is there any more books you have coming up, maybe you're working on?
I'm working on another book. The book To Flourish has been translated into Spanish and French. And it's selling pretty good, because God says, go ye into the world and spread the gospel. Well, I said, okay, I'm going to do that. So now it's in Spanish and French, and it's doing very well.
And then you have an album out, right? And does that coincide with the book?
The album is called To Flourish. Okay, it's 18 collections of my best poems that the people have commented on throughout the years. I mean, one of the poems is called Directions. It's been done at weddings. It's been done at funerals. It's been done in conventions. And it's really changed people. So I got, I get the response from it. So, and the poetry in the album has music behind it, and some of them have nature sounds behind it. Okay. And the story behind it, this one lady had bought the book and she was reading the poems to her kids. So then when the album came out, which was like 2.5 years ago, she downloaded the album and she let the kids listen to it, when they go to bed. And in her comments section, she goes, it's changed my kids.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I was excited about that, So it's moving, and the poetry is anointed because it's from God. It's not like I'm walking down through City Park and I see a leaf fall or I see the sunset. I get inspired and I go, right. I know that's God. Okay, the sunset is by God. If you see it, then you see God. Okay, so I know that in my heart, and I met God. I met him, so I know exactly who he is, and I know what heaven is like. So I know where I have to be to get back into heaven. I know I have to be pure in heart, so I have to keep myself at peace. So
peace.
Yeah. The poetry helps people guide them to that peace in life. Okay.
So, what are some of the awards you won? World awards, I guess.
There are a lot of them, Chris. But put my glasses on.
You can give me a couple titles.
Okay. 1,000 Leaders of World Influence.
All right.
2,000 Intellectuals of the 20th Century. American Hall of Fame. 100 Most Intriguing People in the 20th Century. I'm listed in Who's Who in the World. Who's Who in America. the Presidential Seal of Honor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I'm nominated for, I take glass off, there's a glare, fellow from out of England. So I'm a fellow. Yeah, I had to look it up to see what a fellow was. I thought a fellow meant, your best friend. But no, it's most people that become fellows are technical writers.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Very few poets become fellows. And I was honored for that, for my technical skills in the writing that it expresses God and people can connect to it.
Wow.
So I was excited about that. I knew what a fellow was. I looked that up.
It's good to know these things. So what do you hope people come away with as they read your book?
Peace. Find themselves with God, find out who they are, and biggest one, their purpose in life. God put us here for a purpose, his purpose. And we need to find him, to find what that purpose is, to exalt him. That's the biggest thing I want people to find. Find their peace, find who they are. Now there's a lot of commercials about stop hate, and all this stuff. And when people find who they are in God, then they find peace. Then they find their journey home. So when they go to heaven, they're at peace.
It's everybody needs to find peace in this world. It definitely is a thing. On your website, do you offer any coaching, consulting, any courses, things of that nature?
I don't do that because I let the poetry speak for itself.
There you go.
I admit, being a prophet, I prophesize. Okay, so some people can call that counseling. I don't know, but I'm also a prophet, so I do prophesize to many people and give the word what God wants them to know. So that could be, I don't know, looked at as counseling, whatever. But I don't actually sit down and counsel people on their life. I let the poetry speak on that. That way they can read it. They can make a decision if they want to choose to follow the path or to follow their own path. And my book says we don't have our own path. We have the path, the true path of what God has given us. Before we were born, he knew who we were in our mother's womb, right? So he knew and gave us the gift to share to the world, to exalt him. That's what I do.
Anything more you want to tease out to us or talk to us about the book or some of the works and poems that you do upcoming, et cetera, et cetera?
What I wanted to say, the book To Flourish, God is a Light, We're the Spectrum, it's an anointed book. The words are from God. And I wake up in the middle of the night, I'll write them, I'll go back to sleep, and everyone that has read the book, have read some of the poems, even on the website, have found what they were looking for, Chris. I mean, it's serious. And it's because God put you in a position to hear his word, okay? But you have to be in the position to hear his word. And then he brings the word to you, and then that's how you accept it. So the book is written for people, to find the truth, who they are. And the poetry covers the many different aspects. I go over drugs. I go over identity. I go over death. I go over life. I go over pride in yourself, who you are and who you believe in as yourself. So the poetry touches many different subjects.
Thank you very much, Duane, for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. Give us your .coms as we go out.
I'm sorry, say it again. And hear you.
Give us your .coms, your website.
Oh, okay. The website is called To Flourish, DH.com. And then you can find me on Facebook under Duane Haynes or To Flourish. I have both of them.
Thank you very much, Duane, for coming on the show. We really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, Chris, and it's welcome to be. And I also wanted to say the album is on all the outlets on downloaded music.
Okay,
not a lot of them. Okay,
people should check it out as well. Is the album on Amazon? I think you can put out.
The album is not on Amazon. The album is on
Spotify,
Tidal something, and all anywhere that you download music.
Okay, the
album is there. There's 29 different sites that the album is on. Okay. The book is on. Yeah, the book is on Amazon. You can get book, you can get Kindle, you can get ebook, and also the other two books, Spanish and French, are on Amazon.
All right, sounds good then. Thank you very much, Duane, for coming to the show. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. God bless you. Stay strong.
All right. Thanks so much for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss. Chris Voss, one of the TikTok and all those crazy places on the internet. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you next time. And that should